Hi, I'm Jeremy Shinewald, founder of mbaMission.
And I'm Liza Weale, founder of Gatehouse Admissions.
And today, we're reviewing another application essay from an MBA applicant who was admitted to Harvard Business School. If you want to follow along, use the link below to download a free copy of our book of successful HBS application essays. In our last video, we looked at Diego's business-minded essay. Now, let's take a look at his leadership-focused essay. Children darted around me giggling, calling me cappuccino, due to my mixed heritage. As a middle schooler, I trekked to Lagos's outskirts every Saturday to teach English. Together, 80 village students and I sang nursery rhymes, role-played, ate Pop-Tarts, and played ping pong. As I taught them English vocabulary and they corrected my Hausa, I learned the power of shared growth. Shared growth was my guiding principle as president of Northwestern's Student Investment Group when COVID hit. With anxiety and isolation running high, connection mattered more than stock pitches. I launched virtual game nights, paired members with NWSIG alumni for mentorship, and invited speakers like Goldman's Bill Stapin, who reassured us that volatility presents opportunity. Once we resumed stock picking, we were stronger than ever. At our masked year-end banquet, we laughed, toasted, and celebrated beating the S&P. When I left ATR to join ATR back to Credit, my new colleagues questioned if they could trust me, but we needed each other to convince the board we had a path forward. I traveled to San Francisco, Mexico, India, and Charlotte, embedding myself in departments and familiarizing myself with each colleague's expertise. Closer rapport enabled me to host cross-functional meetings that tied product, GTM, and customer success initiatives into a unified strategy. The board approved our plan, a win that boosted morale. We built momentum, shouting out achievements on Slack and celebrating new solopreneur acquisitions with a group ringing of the office bell. My leadership will always be rooted in building community and connection where people are inspired to grow together. Okay, Liza, that's leadership essay number 2. Where should we start with this essay?
Well, first I have to say, whoa, this feels so completely different, or, just multiple new dimensions of Diego that we maybe got little teasers of in his business-minded essay, and now we're just getting a much richer picture of who he is. I personally love the opening story of him teaching English and him, the students or the children calling him cappuccino. It's just very vivid, and him mentioning Pop-Tarts just brings where his, when we looked at his business-minded essay, a lot of it was focused on specific companies, if you will, and the promise of fintech. But this is really personal, and these little vivid moments just bring him to life in a way that I wasn't expecting after having read his first essay. So it was a real pleasure from that point of view.
Right, and I think what you're saying is, the old show don't tell. He's got to show us who he is, not tell us. And those little details in that first paragraph really bring him to life. We remember these things. We remember him, learning along with teaching, and that's really important. Like I can place him with these children. I can see what he's doing. So it becomes more powerful. I guess similarly, I can see him during lockdowns. And look, these days a lot of people have their COVID story. There's a little risk in that, but I think the importance of his story during COVID is that he did what was unexpected. Yeah. He really helped to pivot his group and make his group almost a support group. He took a student investment fund group, which ultimately he does note beat the S&P right here, which is fun. It's tough to beat the S&P, but he talks about more of it as a force for keeping morale up and for engaging others and for engaging a top thinker, and so that's nice. It's not just kind of like a story about, hey, we all put our heads down and kept doing our work, and I helped to motivate people during their stock pitches, but we helped to broaden the mandate, and that's what a leader does. A leader finds any way to to help get everyone in the group to the goal line, and so here. Again, I feel like he's broadening our conception of leadership. And that's what it's about. It's a leadership essay.
Right. And he somehow brings in a third story too. This idea of when he joined Credit, and it was an ATR-backed company, and everybody might be a little suspicious of him and whether or not he represents ATR. Is he part of Credit? And that's a talent in itself, to get 3 distinct snapshots and stitching them together in a way that doesn't feel like, oh, let me just cram in another bit of who I am.
Right.
But by, sharing how he really used some of those same skills that he acquired as he was teaching the children to speak English and learning from them, and working with his fellow students in the student investment group, we can understand and believe that, okay, I can see how you would really partner with these different groups, travel to the different countries, talk to the different business units and teams, and really build that camaraderie, if you will. But it's not easy to get 3 distinct snapshots and stitch them together in a way that's cohesive in 250 words.
Right, and I think the other very small thing in that final anecdote is that he establishes that he didn't have trust right off the bat, that he had to build it. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be walking in and hitting a grand slam. It's okay. It's normal for someone to walk into a new environment and to take some time to build credibility. It's okay to acknowledge that. It gives more credibility to what he's done. That he said he walked in and set the world on fire and everyone got behind him. It might have lacked credibility, or it would have certainly required way more detail to establish that credibility. So I give him a pat on the back for saying, look, I had to earn it like anyone else. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Harvard is not expecting that everyone has a fully linear path from birth to Harvard Business School where everything is successful. They understand that fundamentally that people have ups and downs, that people are shaped by ups and downs, and this isn't a massive up or down. It's just that it was just an appropriate acknowledgement to give himself a little bit of credibility.
Right.
And as I always enjoy saying, language is simple throughout, and the connections are made, and it's very easy to read. It's not. I think sometimes people think that that they have to write a masterpiece that can be published and can end up in the New Yorker or whatever it is. It's not the case. Let the story do the work, and he did that. And I think he did a great job.
Right. I 100% agree. I like even his mention of Slack shout-outs, things like that.
Right.
We can all relate to that.
Yeah.
It's nothing special. It's nothing magical, but we can certainly relate to it. And I think he did a great job of that.
Yeah. Great job, Diego. Let's move on to essay number 3 in a moment. So next up, we'll look at Diego's growth-oriented essay. Stay tuned and be sure to download our book, link below, for more examples of real essays from Real HBS Admits.